The next step is the ground offensive that's already on. And Netanyahu and Israel has said they're not going to go with the ceasefire. They have hostages. They have little children, young girls and women who are still being held captive by Hamas, and they need to bring them back. And meanwhile, as some pro-Palestine protests also continue, Israel is advancing into the areas. Let's bring you now this big news that's coming in. Another visual that's on your screen right now. Two top advisors to President Joe Biden asked U.S. lawmakers at a congressional hearing to provide billions of dollars to Israel, which led to a pro-Palestine protester heckling the U.S. congressman. Protesters repeatedly condemned the U.S. officials for supporting what they called genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. Capitol Police had to escort the protester out.
In the face of Russia's aggression against Ukraine, not in the face of an intensifying strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific and around the world.
If the witness will suspend, and I ask that everyone again respect this hearing, we will suspend until the room is clear.
Is calling for a ceasefire. Shame on you all. The world is calling for a ceasefire. The American people don't want to support this brutal war. Stop the war. Stop the ceasefire now.
So I want to bring in Gaurav Sawant again on this. Gaurav, of course, it's about democracy as well in the Western nations where all sorts of protests are permitted. Cannot say the same for Middle East if probably a Jewish protester wants to take out a rally. But what's happening here, and this time this is United States of America. We were discussing Europe earlier. There are a lot of pro-Palestine protesters as well who are taking on the U.S. government for supporting Israel.
So right now, President Biden is seeking unprecedented support to send a lot of weapons, equipment, military hardware, and even deploy additional forces for the protection not just of Israel but of American interests in the Middle East, because there is an apprehension that this war is all set to amplify, especially with Yemen also now targeting Israel directly using longer-range missiles. Of course, they were intercepted, but this war is all set to escalate. So U.S. is seeking additional funds. Secretary Blinken, he gave, details of how Hamas terrorists had tortured families, gouged out the eyes of a husband, tortured the wife, killed the children, tortured the children. All of those details he gave out in a hearing as America seeks, as President Biden and his administration seek additional funds for Israel. But protests have also broken out, not just in terms of the funding that's taking place for Ukraine, but also for Israel. And this actually shows that the world is very clearly getting divided, with Russia, China, and Iran coming up in support of the Palestinian cause, in a way giving cover fire to Hamas, and America coming up very strongly in support of Israel, as are countries like United Kingdom, France and Germany, Pooja.
And US, UK, France, Russia, China, they are the 5 permanent members of the United Nations, and that's why we see a lot of bickering and the lack of resolutions being passed, because there is this division that's taken place with these opinions.